Hi Year 3, welcome to your maths video for Wednesday the 3rd of February. Now this is a video for you if you've got the Year 3 maths booklet. So today we're going to be moving on and completing the whole today of page 18, okay? All 3 sections today, which is very different to yesterday because we had new learning yesterday of short multiplication. So lots of you sent in your short multiplications in your purple book and sent in pictures of just section A. So well done to those children, okay? We're very impressed. So we're not going to complete the tough challenge or the integer section of page 17. We're just going to move on to a new day and complete the whole of page 18 today. So before we get on to that, we're going to warm ourselves up ready for our learning today. So in my warm-up challenge today, I've got a time yourself challenge, okay? So my all-star challenge is, how quickly can you write out your 4 times table? Then complete my question below. So for this, you're going to need your purple books and your pencils. You get yourself a new page and you need a timer. So maybe your parent or guardian at home has got a timer on their phone, or you've got a timer on your watch or on your tablet, and you can press go and see how quickly it takes you to complete this challenge. Now, when I've said how quickly can you write out your 4 times table, I don't want you to just write the multiples of 4. I want you to write out the question. So we start with 1 times 4 equals 4, 2 times 4 equals 8, and so on until you get to 12 times 4. When you've wrote out to 12 times 4, then hopefully you should pause this video and you can have a look at these questions too. So I want you to write these questions and write the answers as well. As soon as you've got to the last question, 9 times 4, you've wrote the answer to it, stop your timer or say stop to your parent or guardian and they can stop the timer for you and write how quickly you did it. I can't wait for you to take some photos and show me how quickly you can complete my all-star challenge. It might help you to just chant your 4 times table first, get yourself ready so you can make the fastest time you can. Okay, so I'm going to put that board back on. So when you've wrote out the 4 times table, starting from 1 times 4, complete these questions too, and then stop your timer. Okay, so you might want to pause the board now while you complete my warm-up challenge. Okay, so we're going to move on today, Year 3, to continuing to use short multiplication, which lots of us were amazing at yesterday. And then we're going to solve a range of number sentences and problems in our integer section and our tough challenge section. So let's just have a little recap of what short multiplication was. So we know that short multiplication is a written method that we use when we're multiplying large numbers, okay? When we can't just count in our times tables in our head because the numbers are too big. So we know our 3 times table, but it would take us a while to count 45 lots of 3, okay? So we just refresh our memory. We line up our digits correctly in short multiplication. So we write our first number 45, we're multiplying it by 3, which is a 1-digit number, so we pop it in the ones column. Okay, we start by multiplying the ones, so 3 times 5. 3 times 5, that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So there's my 5 ones. I'm going to exchange those 10s and carry them over. I've multiplied my ones, so I now need to multiply my number by the 10s. So I've got 3 times 4 10s. 3 times 4. 3, 6, 9, 12. That's 12 10s. But I've got this one to add on. 12, 13. So there's my 13 tens, which we know is 130. I've got no hundreds to add on, so my answer is 135. Okay. Now you have got today a short multiplication in your startup challenge. It is question 9, 19 times 3. And I know lots of you down the side of your page will be able to use short multiplication to do that. Now I'm going to do one more to show you how we lay it out, just to remind us. 65 times 5. So I'm going to write my first number, 65. I am multiplying it by 5 ones. I'm going to put those 5 ones under the ones column, and we start by multiplying the ones. 5 times 5. Now I know 5 times 5 is 25. So I'm going to put my 5 ones there and exchange and carry my 2 tens from 25 under the tens column, because I need to add them on in a minute. I've multiplied the ones, so I'm going to multiply the tens. So I'm going to do 5 times 6 tens. 5 times 6. Now 5 times 6 is 30. But I've got 2 to add to that. And I know 30 add 2 is 32. That's 32 tens. I'm going to leave my 2 there and carry my 3 to the hundreds. But I've got no hundreds to multiply. So I'm just going to add them in. I've got 325. So when you get to that similar question on section A, remember you can do a short multiplication at the side of your page to have a go at it again. Right, moving on then. You'll be using short multiplication then for that question, but most of our learning today is to solve a range of number sentences and problems, and they're going to include all 4 operations and maybe some fraction work too. So let's have a look at some of the questions that you've got in your startup challenge today. 6 add 4 add something add 8 equals 24. Got lots of parts to this calculation, so I'm going to break it down like we have been doing before. 6 add 4, well, I know that's a number 1 to 10. So I'm going to write that down so I don't lose it. Just like you could write and keep track of your calculations all over the page of your book too. So I've got 6 add 10. Now I'm adding something else to it and then adding 8. But it doesn't matter which order I do it in. I'm going to add that 8 to my 10 now. Okay, so 10 add 8, well we know that's 18. So these 3 numbers equal 18, but I need to add something else to them to get to 24. So I need to work out the difference between 18 to 24. Let's count on. Are you ready? 18 in our heads, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 6 ones. So I must have added 6 there. So make sure you're using the numbers you have. It doesn't matter if it appears in the middle of your problem where you need to fill in the missing number. Right, we have a fraction question that's very similar to this. A half equals how many quarters? Now, we know a fraction is part of a whole. So if I've got my whole pizza and I'm going to split it into halves, I'm going to split it into 2 equal parts, okay? Now, 1/2, that's just 1 out of my 2 parts, okay? Now, quarters. When we split something into quarters, we're splitting it into 4 equal parts. That's 1/4 there, okay? So, if I get another pizza and split it into 4 equal parts, if we have a look, if I imagined this half covering this half of the pizza I've split into quarters, it would cover 2 sections, okay? So 1/2 is the same as 1/2 quarters, okay? Got to try and visualise, and you can draw out your whole pizzas or your whole cakes, split them into halves, and then do another one for quarters and see if you can match it up. So a half is the same, we draw that half, put that half on the top, it'd be the same as 2 quarters. That's 2 pieces out of my 4 pieces. Okay. Right, another similar question that you have today. 120 divided by 2. Now we're sharing 120 into 2 equal groups. Okay, we're halving it, aren't we? Okay. So 120 is quite a big number. Some of us might not know how to split that in half. But remember, I said you could partition your hundreds and your tens and then add your answer together. So 120 is made up of 100 and 2 tens, 20. Okay, we add them together to get to 120. So now it makes it more easy. I know that half of 100 is 50. And I know that half of 20 is 10. So what's 50? Add 10. Or if you said 60, well done. Now, we all have different ways of working that out. So that's just one way. But some of you would have recognised 12 at the start of that number if we covered over the 0. And we know that 12 divided by 2 is 6. But 120 is 10 times bigger than 12, so we'd need to multiply our answer by 10 as well. So some of you may have done that too, okay? Right, another question that you've got that's very similar to this one on your startup challenge. 7 add 32 subtract 3. So let's split it into 2 parts. 7 add 32, so 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, but now I need to subtract 3 from that, and I know that 39 take away 3 ones is 36. Okay, right, here we've got division and addition. Now have a think about divisions. When we've got a division, does it start with the biggest number or the smallest number? Okay, so if you said the biggest number, well done. So I know I need a big number here. So what I'm going to do is work backwards from my answer. And I know that if I haven't got a big number here, the answer's not quite right. So my answer is 14. Now the last thing I did was add 6 to get to 14. So I'm going to use the inverse. What is the opposite of addition? Oh, if you said subtraction, well done. So I'm going to subtract 6 from my answer. Okay, so 14 take away 6, I know is 8. So I've got to 8 here. Okay, so I've subtracted 6 instead of adding it. Then something divided by 3 gives me 8. Something divided by 3 has given me 8. Well, then I can use those two numbers, and I know the opposite of division is multiplication. So if I multiply those numbers together, the number I've just got from doing the inverse and working backwards, 8 times 3 is 24. Okay, so my answer must be 24, and if I check that now, 24 divided by 3, how many 3's are in 24? That's 8. If I add 6 ones to 8, we get 14. So use your numbers and think really carefully. And for this problem, you'll have to work backwards and use the inverse operations. Keep track of your calculations like I have done. And you've also got on your startup challenge a time question. 5 minutes times something equals 1 hour. So first of all, how many minutes are there in a whole hour? How many minutes does it take the big hand to get from o'clock all the way around the clock back to the 12? Okay, so an hour has passed. If you said 60 minutes, well done. So I know that an hour is 60 minutes. So then what the question is really asking me, 5 times what equals 60? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. That was 10 and 2. What's 10 add 2? Oh, if you said 12, well done. Okay, so 5 minutes times 12 gives us an hour, because we know an hour is 60 minutes long. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and complete the short multiplication on your section A and the rest of it, okay? So you've only got one short multiplication to do in your section A, and then come back and we will have a look at some of the questions on your Integer section and your tough challenge for today. Okay, so hopefully by now you've completed your section A. So moving on to your Integer section where we've got some word problems today. Add 3 and 10 and multiply your answer by 8. So I'm just going to write this out. Add 3 and 10. So it's told me what operation I'm doing, very simple. Add 3 and 10. So that's the first step. 3 add 10, 13. I can use my place value. And multiply your answer by 8. Ooh, now 13 times 8. I could just do 12 times 8, which is 96, and add another 8 on. So 96, 97, can you count with me? 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104. I could get my answer that way and use the times tables I know. Or some of you might like to do a short multiplication again, only if your multiplication has got big numbers in, ones that you don't know, and they're not in your times tables, because we know our times tables in our head up to 12 times, don't we? Right, you've also got a writing the missing sign question like this. Now we're missing an operation in this question, an add, a subtract, a multiply or a divide. Now remember, when we do these questions, you need to look carefully at what operation would work well, okay? So I've got 6 add 12. So I'm going to work that out first. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Something, 10, gets me to 28. 18 and 10, what would I do with them to get to 28? Would I subtract, multiply, divide, or add? If you said add, well done, okay? Because 18 add 10 is 28. So look at the numbers carefully that you have been given. Last but not least, on your integer section, you've got a question very similar to this. Work out a third of 24. Write your answer in words. So you don't just get the answer, I also want it in words too. Now we know a third as a fraction, we write it as 1 over 3. I've got 1 out of 3 equal parts. And I'm trying to find a third of 24. So remember, our denominator is 4 dividing. So it's asking you how many 3's go into 24. Well, I know that 3 times 8 is 24, so it would be 8. And I only want one lot of those 8s because my numerator tells me so. So a third of 24 is 8. Now remember, if you're struggling to count in your 3's, a fraction is part of a whole, so you can get your whole pizza or cake and split it into 3 equal parts because our denominator has told us that, and you can share out your 24 counters equally between these 3 sections, and you only need one of those sections, so just count one of them, okay? So you might want to pause the video again and complete your integer section, and I'm just going to go over now a couple of questions in your tough challenge. So on your tough challenge today, you'll notice you've got a lot of word problems, so make sure you get your pen at the ready and pencil to underline any key words and numbers so you can understand which operation the question is asking you to do. So I've got here 36 stickers are shared between 4 children. How many stickers does each child receive? So they've started with 36 stickers, and there's a key word there that tells me which operation I am going to do. Oh, if you said shared, well done, because the word shared means we're going to divide, okay? We're going to share equally and give out those stickers equally between those 4 children. So how many stickers does each child receive? We're going to do a division. So I'm going to pick out my 36, I'm sharing them, so that's divide between 4 children, okay? Now remember with your dividing, you can count how many 4's are in 36 for this question, or you can draw it and share out those 36 stickers between those 4 children, okay? Another question that lots of us have been struggling with, I've got 5 items at 8p each will cost how much altogether? So we've got 5 items at 8p each. They cost 8p each. How much will they cost all together? Now we know all together is an addition word. So we need to add 5 lots of 8p together. Now I know lots of you might be saying there's a much quicker way of doing that, and I'm sure you'll see in a minute another operation that we could use. So 5 items at 8p each. So here's one item, 8p. Add my second one, 8p. My third one, 8p. My fourth one, 8p. And my fifth one. Okay. Now what have I done there? What do we call it? A repeated addition, because it said all together. I've got 5 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 8p each. I've got 5 lots of 8. 5 lots of 8. Now if you said multiplication, well done, because that's just a repeated addition. Here, it's just like saying I've got 5 lots of 8. And we know 5 lots of 8p is 40p. We could use our times tables instead of adding them on. Okay. Now, you've also got a measurement conversion to be done, okay, where it's asking you a measurement question. And if you're struggling with that, remember we've got the useful information page at the start of your books. So good luck, Year 3. Can't wait to see all of your fabulous work from today. See you soon.